You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
What's that?
Tell the truth, Jim!
I will. You got it. I will.
Politicians and the media encouraged by our country's leader to be harassed by the public. Why our country is now so divided. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Matter, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. In a moment, we'll talk about patriotism in a polarized time with Alan Cohn. But first, our top stories at 7. First tonight, to some strong storms that are moving through our area. Will that weather cooperate with your 4th of July plans? With the answer, let's head straight to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Thanks, Jacqueline. And as our promise from the ABC7 First Alert Weather Team, we're going to lead the newscast when weather is threatening like it is today, and it was very intense at one point. That is now starting to lessen somewhat as it pushes off into the Gulf of Mexico. We'll give you the first alert even before the warnings are issued, and we can see some heavy weather still lingering now just on the north end of Anna Maria Island. You're getting some lightning strikes there. This storm is just kind of building over the last half hour. The heavy rain that had been around Sarasota and southern portions of Manatee County has now shifted west. It's still lingering now over Longboat Key and Lido. And then Inglewood, this storm in particular is sitting around, but it's drifting to the west, still bringing some heavy rainfall down near Minnesota Beach and Inglewood, and also some flood advisories still in place. Right now, some rain falling and still some lightning strikes near the Sarasota-Bradian Airport. It's lessened considerably now. In Lakewood Ranch, it's almost come to an end there, but light rain will linger here for the next hour or so. Notice this bolt right here. This is what you call a bolt from the blue, basically coming back from these storms, and sometimes that can happen. Majority of the people that are hit by lightning and struck by lightning, it's after the heavy rain has moved on. They think they can go out and resume their activities. Typically, you got to wait a half hour before you go back out from the last heard of thunder. So again, keep that in mind. Rainy in Siesta Key right now, but still some lightning around, so not good to go walking on the beaches quite yet, even though the rain has lessened considerably. Some lightning strikes as well near US 41, just north of downtown Sarasota near the airport there. You can see that rain was heavy at times, and especially down into Charlotte County as well. It's still raining pretty heavy near Inglewood. It's lessening in Northport, and you can see that light rain still lingers behind it. We have a flood warning along the Manatee River at the Myakka Head. Still quite a bit of lightning strikes down there near Inglewood. Real quickly, 3 inches of rainfall just in the last hour and a half there in North Sarasota and along University. We'll have more on our forecast coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. We'll talk to you soon. Tens of thousands of people are expected to line Sarasota's Bayfront to watch the fireworks that start in just about 2 hours. With a look at the crowds and the preparations, let's go now to ABC7's Rick Adams, who is live at the Bayfront. Rick?
Yeah, Jacqueline, good evening. Despite the rain, there is still a lot of excitement in the air here. The Zambelli Fireworks Company did spend the last few days working hard on putting together the show. The show over the Sarasota Bayfront gets underway at 9 o'clock. Lots of folks got here early, finding their spot for tonight's fireworks display.
We try to get out here at least in between 8 and 9 because eventually they block off that parking lot, and this is a perfect shady spot right on the water.
Yep.
Beautiful view.
Fireworks overhead, and so it's a perfect spot for us.
And we did speak with the fireworks company. They say even if it's raining out there, the show will go on. Again, the fireworks get underway here around 9 o'clock tonight. Reporting live from the Sarasota Bayfront, I'm Rick Adams. Jacqueline, back to you.
Rick, thank you. Independence Day celebrations are happening all across the Suncoast tonight. On Siesta Key, 20 to 30,000 people are expected to watch the fireworks, which kick off at 9 p.m. as well. But if you're heading that way, you might want to be aware that traffic on and off the Key has been backed up all day, and parking may be tough to come by. Venice's annual Independence Day fireworks display will also be shooting off from the South Jetty shortly after 9 p.m. tonight. The show typically draws 10 to 15,000, but if you're heading that way, be warned, red tide is still in the area and deterring some spectators. People with a chronic respiratory condition are generally advised to avoid areas with active red tides, whereas for the rest of you, it can be more of an annoyance that goes away once you leave that area. Some other good places on the Suncoast to catch fireworks at 9 o'clock. The 32nd annual Sandbar Restaurant Fireworks Spectacular at the Sandbar Restaurant on the north end of the island next to Pine Avenue, and also along both sides of the Manatee River Walk in Bradenton as well. Now, while out having fun this Independence Day, also be sure to stay safe. Every year, firefighters typically respond to more than 100 incidents related to the improper use of fireworks. State law limits sales to relatively safe devices like sparklers and fountains. But each year, thousands of Floridians buy fireworks through a loophole that allows sales for agricultural purposes, like for scaring away birds from crops. Instead, if you really want to see those big fireworks displays, you may want to try a local public show. But if you do set off fireworks at home, here are some tips.
What we recommend is that you keep children and pets away from them, that you never try to light more than one at a time, you never try to relight a dud, you always want to be prepared with a fire extinguisher or a bucket of water handy.
Specific rules about where fireworks can be shot off vary from county to county, and a list of approved sparklers can be found on the state fire marshal's website. After more than a century, a flag has now been erected at one of Manatee County's oldest veteran cemeteries located in Rivonia. This morning, people from all over the county attended the ceremony, commemorating the new flag flying over the cemetery, honoring the veterans and family members buried there. Manatee County Veterans Officer Lee Washington says this flag serves as a tribute to the estimated 40,000 veterans living in Manatee County.
I mean, these veterans have served, some of which who have died in service of this country. It's well overdue. We should be able to recognize them in this flagpole, and this flag is doing that now every single day.
The flagpole raising was made possible by the more than $1,300 raised by the Jewish Family and Children's Service of Sarasota Manatee. And for your 4th of July needs, make sure you have our news app downloaded. You'll see tips for parking at those 4th of July events, some grilling safety tips, and other up-to-the-minute breaking news in our area. Make sure you just type in WWSB or ABC7 in the App Store. In other news tonight, a death investigation is underway after a man was found dead in an apparent drowning in Sarasota Bay. It happened near Centennial Park in the 10th Street boat ramp just after noon today. Police say 2 men were swimming in the bay, became separated, then one of them found the other unconscious. A witness says he was watching boats go by when he heard a man yelling for help. Unfortunately, help came a little too late for one of those swimmers.
Apparently they were just swimming off the coast, and they were like 40 yards out off the mangroves here, off the beach, and I guess they got exhausted.
The man was brought to shore where rescuers performed CPR, but the victim did not survive. Police say he was in his mid-50s. No foul play is suspected in his death. A Charlotte County Sheriff's Sergeant is now under investigation for allegedly exposing himself at a restaurant last year. Investigators say a couple of Charlotte County deputies were celebrating at a restaurant in Punta Gorda when Sergeant James White unzipped his pants and exposed himself. The incident happened last August, but was reported 9 months later. One internal investigation has ended, but they are still conducting another one. Sergeant White was on temporary paid leave for about 8 months, but he was officially fired last week. An update now involving a man accused of videotaping people with hidden cameras in his Longboat Key condo. We learned today that Wayne Nat will have to pay to stay in his condo, at least for now. Since Nat was arrested last September, the police department has been trying to confiscate his condo on Cedars Court. But last week, the town agreed to settle its property forfeiture case against Nat for $30,000. Nat has pleaded no contest to 15 counts of video voyeurism. He is scheduled to be sentenced on July 26th. The Northport Police Department is thanking people in the community for their help in solving a hit-and-run case. Last night, the department tweeted pictures of a car and a man that they believe were involved in an accident at the Walmart store on Price and Sumter. A few hours later, police announced that they found the man and charged him. That's a look at your top stories at 7. ABC7's Alan Cohn joins us now with the topic of the night, patriotism in a polarized time. Alan?
It's the 4th of July, and we thought it would be a great opportunity to talk about patriotism in a polarized time. The White House press secretary asked to leave a restaurant. The Secretary of Homeland Security confronted by hecklers while she was out to eat. And this, President Trump telling his supporters at the South Carolina rally, the media is the enemy. Some confronted CNN's Jim Acosta.
President Trump will be here later on tonight campaigning for the man who wants to be the governor of South Carolina for another 4 years. That is Henry McMaster. And as you can hear behind me, Wolf, the crowd is very fired up. We have about a couple thousand people in this room so far. They are letting the press corps here know exactly how they feel about what we're doing here, Wolf. I can't hear you anymore. What's that?
Tell the truth, Jim.
I will. You got it. I will. I'm staying right here. I'm staying right here. I'm staying right here.
Hey, can I do a picture with you? You're part of history.
Sure, why not? Yeah, sure.
I don't agree with all your views from CNN, but I do believe that you have a right to be like anybody else.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
From people of South Carolina.
We are here to do our jobs and report the news and report on this rally, and we're not going anywhere, Wolf.
In a moment, two guests who don't agree on much except keeping it civil, next at the Trapezoid.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. And you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991. Now, in one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Welcome back. Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate and worn like a badge of honor, and with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. Do you remember that line? It was part of an amazing video by WWE star John Cena 2 years ago. Love has no labels. To show love for our country, he said, remember, to love America is to love all Americans. Wow. You feeling the love, folks? From Sarah Huckabee Sanders being booted out of a restaurant, Maxine Waters calling for cabinet members to be confronted, to President Trump mocking anyone who disagrees with him, Democrat or Republican, and calling the press the enemy. It's the 4th of July. What better time to talk about patriotism than with State Senator Greg Steube and Susan Nylon? And the reason why I invited you both is because I can't think of two people with more opposing political views, but I don't remember either one of you ever making it personal with anybody else. And Greg, you know, you've seen last week with what happened with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Secretary Nielsen, Pam Bondi. On the other hand, the president telling his crowd that the press is the enemy. And it kind of, the question is, does it give you pause in terms of where we are at in terms of our ability to debate the issues?
It doesn't give me pause. It's just, it's sad that we've gotten to a point in our country where people, regardless of who they work for or their race, their color, their creed, their ethnicity, are being denied the ability to enjoy a dinner, which is one of the kind of sacrosanct things in America, is you want to go with family and enjoy a nice quiet dinner with each other, and booing them and charading them and forcing them to leave, or flat out denying them the ability to enjoy dinner at their restaurant.
Susan?
Yeah, I'd like to think I would support that, but in the same token, times are very different, and there's a lot of families right now that are sitting on the border, separated from their children, who aren't able to enjoy that as well. So I think we have to put everything in perspective, and yes, we are an extreme nation right now, but some would say this calls for extreme measures.
All right, we have to take a quick break, and we will be back with more in just a moment.
Well, some pictures sent in to our pics at mysuncoast.com and as well as our email account. This one coming from some flooded streets after 3 inches of rainfall in some areas. Lewis sending this one in from Monica Parkway up near Kensington Park near 17th and Lockwood Ridge. You can see that rainfall right now. Looking at it currently 7:16. The live sweep of the radar showing still some showers near Siesta Key. Some moderate rainfall there occurring. It's lessening somewhat at Lakewood Ranch now. Braden didn't get much rain at all. We have some lightning strikes occurring on the north end of Anna Maria Island, and currently some pretty heavy rainfall near Inglewood. I mentioned the heavy rainfall. There's the bullseye right there along University, just west of I-75. That's where the heaviest rain fell. Also down in between Northport and Venice. 3.3, that's the highest amount I can see right now from the rainfall estimates. And most of that came down in an hour. And you can bet you're going to get some flooding problems. That location I showed you where that photo came from, right there on 17th Street on Lockwood Ridge. There's Monica Parkway, and there's the mailbox underwater, at least the bottom portion of it. And that rainfall moving up from the street on into the lawn there as a result of that tremendous amount of rainfall. Most of that is winding down now, although we still have some light rainfall lingering, and I think that'll be the case over the next hour or so. And we could still see an isolated shower, a thunderstorm unlikely at this time, but we could still see one or two, 20% chance, I think, by 9 o'clock. Most of the heavy rainfall over. But you see this back building that occurs. That's what happens when you have some of these outflow boundaries that are moving all in different directions due to the heavy rainfall that was around. Still some moderate to heavy rainfall there near Northport. And looks like most of the energy has been used up by the previous storms, but places that didn't get the rain like Osprey, it's still there. Still some energy around. So Osprey, you may get some rainfall from this cell in particular as it heads to the south. Siesta Key, still raining there, and near Southgate as well. So the Casey Key webcam showing little rainfall in Casey Key. I mentioned that. You'll see the dark clouds come in overhead right around 6 o'clock, and with the storms off in the distance there, those are the ones that move through Siesta Key. Those are starting to break up too, though, and some interesting rain shots there. So for the night, it looks like light rain lingering up until the next hour, and then things should calm down in terms of that rainfall. It looks as though most of the lightning will be out of here, so not a problem with fireworks. I understand that if there's lightning around, that can be dangerous, obviously, for the fireworks show, and they usually delay it because of the lightning. But if it's rain, it's not usually a problem, and it looks like that's what we'll see. Showers and storms developing along the spine of the state for us tomorrow mainly, although the rain chance at 40% for some showers and storms on Thursday. And Friday, it lessens considerably as that low pressure area heads out of here and heads into the Gulf of Mexico. So Friday, limited storms, maybe a few in the inland areas, isolated chance of that happening. This one is looking a little bit vigorous on the satellite imagery, has a chance at 50% of becoming the next tropical system, and this one has a 60% chance of developing in the next tropical system. There it is. If it were to develop, more than likely it would stay away from the United States coast in terms of any direct impact. It would get some high surf there if it were to develop, though, and most of that, though, heading to the north and then eventually to the northeast. I mentioned this one will stay on a westerly course. If it were to develop, more than likely by the time it reaches the Leeward Islands, it would get blown apart by some strong winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere, so not a big concern at this point. It's out in the open waters of the Atlantic. For boaters tomorrow, southeast winds very light, 5 knots to 10 knots, and switching around to the west to southwest in the afternoon. Thursday's forecast, 40% chance, a less chance on Friday, and then we'll go 40% on Saturday and Sunday. That low pressure area will be long gone, so we're not looking at very intense storms for the weekend, but it looks to be pretty good. We'll be right back after this.
Find out first at 4 on the Suncoast with ABC7 News at 4. ABC7 News at 4 starts with a detailed look at your first alert weather forecast to help you plan and prepare. We give you a fresh, fast-paced rundown of the day's top stories and videos, including breaking news, live updates, and traffic hotspots, all at a new, more convenient time. Find out first at 4, weekdays on ABC7.
Growing up, my mom was afraid of the water, something she did not want me to feel.
So I enrolled Missy in swim lessons.
It changed my life.
Missy Franklin.
And now you can do the same for someone that you love.
There's nothing more precious than your child's well-being.
So act now, before it's too late.
Make us fly! I'm glad I did.
Thanks, Mom. Visit usaswimmingfoundation.org to find, get, or give a swim lesson. Thank you.
What are you doing? You are the best protection she has. Buddy up. I'm Jill Harrington. Please visit helpsavethenextgirl.com and get involved.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
The body, it is a work of art and a powerful ally in the fight against cancer. A new approach called immunotherapy works by helping our immune system correctly identify and eradicate many types of cancer cells. Speak with your doctor and visit su2c.org/immunotherapy to learn more. Your body might just be your greatest hope.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke, it's a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
Welcome back. We are talking about patriotism in polarized times, and joining us for more are State Senator Greg Steube and Susan Nylon. And let's take a look first at something that Senator Steube was talking about, what happened earlier this week with Secretary Nielsen, the Secretary of Homeland Security, and also Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Taking away health insurance with people with pre-existing conditions, Pam Bondi. Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! She doesn't care. Shame on you, Pam Bondi, is taking away health.
I don't know, Senator, anybody who enjoys watching that or thinks it's a good thing, but I guess the question to you is, why are we surprised? I mean, from the beginning of the 2016 presidential campaign, frankly, when candidate Donald Trump was mocking disabled reporters and saying things about women and other groups, isn't that what we voted for?
Well, I would certainly say it's part of the process. I mean, when having served in the Senate this past cycle when Parkland occurred, and that's obviously a very emotional issue, despite the side of the argument you're on, you had that type of people that would come up to the Capitol and were that, emboldened or upset and expressing their views. And I certainly, ever since I've been in the political process, I've been in the legislature now 8 years, you expect some of that. At some of the hearings that we had on the gun-related issues this past year in Tallahassee, we had a lot of security because there was a lot of people that got very emotional. So I think, being in politics, you expect some of that. I think what you don't expect is business owners of restaurants denying people the ability to dine in their restaurant just because of who they work for. I think that's gotten to a point where you can't discriminate against people's race, color, creed, but now we're going to discriminate against you just because of who you are and who you work for.
But isn't part of that, I'm going to give you a chance there, Susan, in a second, but we're denying people, gay couples who want a wedding cake service in bakeries
based on their sexuality.
And some people are saying, what's really the difference between that and a business owner?
Is you're basing that decision based off your faith and the faith that you have, which is a right in this country to make that decision. Basing a decision based off who you work for. So if you work for Obama, it's okay, you can come and dine here, but if you work for Trump, you can't come and dine here. That isn't something you're basing that decision off of a right that you have as an American.
Well, actually, you have a right to refuse service in a variety of things. What we're really basing it off of is human decency. It's not a question of, oh, it's okay for the baker because of his religious beliefs that he can discriminate. But it's not okay for the restaurant owner who probably doesn't want that attention to her restaurant or whatever controversy that may come. Or maybe she just says, enough's enough, I draw the line here. And is she not entitled to do that?
But Susan, and we only have a few seconds left here, there has been unwritten rules that when, especially in Washington, politics leaves at the edge of the restaurant door.
Yeah, well, I would say normally, yes, it's courteous, and the restaurateur usually cares about the patrons and everything, but I think this is just an unusual time, and I think people are just at their end.
Okay, we have to take a quick break. We're still getting warmed up, and the best part of our conversation is to come. We'll be back in a moment.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone.
Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? What does it take to strengthen our service members so they can be the greatest force for good in the world? It takes a force. Be a force behind the forces. Give today at force.uso.org.
designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here, because
Why, you don't like my hair?
The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds.
No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm gonna show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch The Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. But you can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back and happy 4th of July. We are talking about patriotism. At a time when it appears that we are turning on ourselves amidst deep divisions in our politics, and joining us for more are State Senator Greg Steube and Susan Nyline. And, you know, folks, I think this is the perfect conversation for the 4th of July because we do celebrate America and we celebrate our identity as Americans and our country on this day. But let's take a look at what happened in the last couple of weeks. We saw what happened with Secretary Nielsen in that restaurant. Let's talk about what the reaction of California Congresswoman Maxine Waters and the president after that.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
They're only good at one thing. What's their term? Resist. It's the party of Maxine Waters. Do you believe her? No. This has become the party of Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi. That's who it is.
Susan, Maxine Waters came under a lot of criticism for that, including by Nancy Pelosi, who says that she understands why people are so upset, but that is not the right way to go about it.
Yeah, you know, I think the change is not so much the public and their outcry or their protesting. It's the decorum of our elected officials. They're supposed to rise above the fray. It's understandable why the public, as frustrated as they are speaking out against the individual or the issue. But where we've never seen it before is the elected official that actually is behaving in the same vein as the public. And I would agree. I think it's what we talked about during the commercial break. There's an expectation of an elected official that is going to happen. You still need to have some kind of control over yourself and not engage in that way.
Senator, will you admit this is not just a matter of Democrats behaving badly, but also, you know, it starts with the top down. You just saw the president go after a member of Congress. Certainly he has said things about Democrats, Republicans, and, you know, Jimmy Fallon. I mean, you know, we live in highly politicized times. Shouldn't the president himself be trying to tone it down, because this could get dangerous?
Well, I mean, all he was doing from the clip I saw was calling out Maxine, or Congresswoman Maxine Waters,
yeah,
for
but
her.
Heard the other things that he's.
Well, yeah, but I think to have a congressman or woman basically telling anyone that they should be making it difficult for other elected officials or cabinet officials and ridicule them, and I mean, that's just completely uncalled for an elected official to be telling people that this is how you should be dealing with folks in the public, and certainly not patriotic during the time of what we're talking about here, and it is a polarizing time. But having elected officials basically telling individuals that they should be ridiculing people is not the appropriate thing. You know, I fought in the military, and I fought for people's rights to the First Amendment, and I respect that, even though I may not agree or disagree with what you're saying, but do it in a civilized, decorum way. Go to the public square, do what you want to do on social media, and express your position without personally attacking people in public.
And on that note, right before the president called out Maxine Waters, he was quoted to have saying he'd like to punch a few protesters. So if you're going to call her out, you have to call the president out as well. There's no way that you can avoid or ignore his decorum from very early on, and I think that's the problem. It's okay to call out the other side, but when we don't self-reflect on our own behavior and our own party's behavior, it's a mockery of everything we're supposed to be talking about today.
I'll let you respond to that.
Well, I just don't agree. I mean, he got elected because he said what he said, and people believed that he was going to do what he said he was going to do, and he's done exactly what he said he's going to do. Is he not the typical politician that gets up and is very polished in his remarks? But I think a lot of the American public have responded very favorably to the fact that he says what's on his mind, he says what he wants to do, and he's gone and done it.
But it's okay for him to do that, but not Maxine Waters?
The president wasn't telling a bunch of people to go and ridicule people in public.
No, he said he would like to punch a protester.
Well, that's him and what he wants to do. It's not encouraging people to riot.
Let's take a moment to show a little clip from John Cena in that video that I referenced at the top of the show, talking about Americans and patriotism.
As Americans, after all, what's more American than freedom to celebrate the things that make us, us? I mean, it's stitched into the stars and stripes of this country, from the Constitution to Gettysburg, to our motto, E pluribus unum, from many, one. It's even in our country's name, the United States. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, disability, sexuality, race, religion, and any other labels. Because the second any of us judge people based on those labels, we're not really being patriotic, are we?
Whole thing, Senator, I get this feeling that whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, we are not looking at each other as Americans these days. If you read viewer comments, what you see on the campaign trail or at the Capitol, it's getting dangerous.
Well, you're in a time where there's campaigns going on. It's highly political because you've got contested primaries going on. You're flowing into the midterm elections where, you know, both sides, Democrats and Republicans, are hoping to pick up some gains and protect some seats. So it's going to be, I mean, 2 years ago when I ran from the Senate, some of the things that I'm hearing and seeing aren't much different than what I saw 2 years ago. It's just the level of personalization that has occurred that wasn't occurring 2 years ago that I think is scary. And I hope that people feel free to express their views, but do it in a respectful way.
Susan, if you could talk for a moment about whether all things are equal. I mean, I read our viewer comments every day, and I see people who still refer to President Obama as that Marxist from Kenya, and Democratic Marxists. On the other hand, if you read some of the comments about President Trump, making fun of everything from the color of his face to his hair, Republicans will say, well, you know, that's pretty darn disrespectful itself.
Yeah, you get it from all sides. And you don't just get it from Republicans and Democrats, you also get it from the independents as well. I mean, you just get it from people. I think that we've totally forgotten who we are, and I agree with that message, and I actually agree with some of the things that Senator Stubbe is saying, with the exception of that he draws the line at the president. However, you know, in my role as in the ACLU, dissension for us is patriotic. It's just the level of personal respect that is sometimes the issue.
You know, Carl Bernstein, the reporter who broke Watergate, has been saying for the last year that we are in the middle of a cold civil war. That we are at the point that we have gotten to such extremes that we're not seeing each other as citizens, even though we may disagree about certain things. And that's dangerous, because what comes after the cold civil war? Are we going to see civil unrest in ways that we have not seen for a very long time?
I don't think it's to that level of unrest. I think you've just gotten into a very polarizing time. I mean, I believe it was Charles Schumer that was asked, will you work with the president on an immigration compromise or an immigration plan? And he specifically said, and was quoted as saying, no, I want to focus on Trump. But it's the political bodies that are going back and forth with each other.
Mitch McConnell said about Barack Obama when he became president?
Well, I don't know what Mitch McConnell said, but what I'm saying is you don't have like civil unrest. You have two political sides that are trying to obviously shore up their bases in the oncoming of a midterm. You've got contested primaries going on, and that's the type of thing in a political spectrum that you're going to have.
I mean, we've had this for years, at least in my adult lifetime. I've never kind of seen it like this.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've been engaged politically all of my adult lifetime too. Never have I seen the amount of protest that I have as we are today, let alone that people are that emboldened that they will go up to somebody face to face and allow them to know their frustration. So I absolutely agree. I don't think it's going to be as extreme as you are worried about.
We hope not. We'll be back with final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system can make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean works on all CPAP machines and popular masks, destroying CPAP bacteria, viruses, and germs without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and in just minutes, voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398. Or visit SoClean.com today.
Hello, I'm John Merce. Rugs As Art is celebrating yet another anniversary, and I would personally like to thank each and every one of you for the many years of continuous support. All during the month of July, we're having a grand celebration. We have flooded our showroom with yellow tag specials, meaning more discounts and more savings than ever before, plus free padding. So don't miss this anniversary celebration at Rugs As Art, Sarasota's bigger and better area rug superstore.
Every time you purchase a fishing license or register your boat, you're helping to preserve our nation's coastlines, lakes, rivers, and streams, protecting memories for generations to come. Learn how your participation in boating and fishing can help the environment at takemefishing.org/conservation.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. So let's do it this way. Senator, what would you like to tell fellow Republicans, people who are deeply supportive of the president, who do not like Democrats at all, about the way you think that they should debate the issues and the tough issues of our times?
Well, I think you stay engaged. I think you encourage them to get their message out. You just do it in a respectful manner. You keep respectful tone. You don't threaten people. You just say the positions that you are. And I think it's very important that people do speak what positions they are on the issues and what they feel is important. That's part of being American. That's part of being patriotic and supporting your country, is your right to be able to say and feel where you are on the issues. Just do it in a respectful manner and not a threatening manner.
And Susan, what do you tell Democrats who don't look at Donald Trump and many Republicans in the same way that they looked at George W. Bush or his father or Ronald Reagan? They look at him and call him, names that, that some will say are disrespectful to the presidency.
Well, you know, this is why I said it, not just anyone in an elected office. The ultimate goal is that you get to sit down at the table with them and have a discussion with them and try to find that middle ground. And you can't do that if you're tearing somebody apart continuously. You'll never recover from that. So yes, I'm a full supporter of the First Amendment. I'm the full supporter of the rights of protesters. But at some point in time, you do go too far, and you'll never get that phone call. You'll never get that invite.
And we only have a few seconds left here. But Greg, you were saying that this is taking place even in partisan elections, even in your Republican primary, other Democratic primaries. People are going after each other.
Yeah, I mean, while we were sitting in the waiting room, you saw an attack ad in one of the Democratic primaries. So like it happens. I mean, it's always politics. My people like to say is a full contact sport, and you as a person going into that arena and being in that arena, you expect that. But yeah, Republicans will tear each other down, and Democrats will tear each other down, and you hope that after the primaries, you can unite as a party and move forward into the midterms.
Right, we'll have to leave it there. We want to thank Greg Stubbe and Susan Nyline for joining us. When we return, we'll have Primetime headlines, so stay with us.
Well, still light rain occurring across the Sun Coast. Most of the lightning is over. That's a good thing. And this is a shot from a boater heading to the fireworks in downtown Sarasota, and you can see this was earlier. This is at 5:45 before the big storm started to roll through. But for the most part, those are over. Robin sending that one, and this is what they dumped. Heavy rainfall. This is on US 41 and 10th Street, which normally floods. Again, the road closed there all the way down to near the Ritz and near the View as a result of that heavy rainfall. You see that vehicle right there should not be in that kind of water. It only takes about 12 inches to start to float a car, 2 inches to start moving the car, or I should say 2 feet to start moving the car. Melissa Parker getting that one in. You can see the light rain lingering now. Also in northwest Braden getting some rain near Cortez, and some showers in east Manatee County. So they're sticking around a little bit. As expected, the light rain, the heavy lightning and storms are offshore, but there's enough surface boundaries floating around to kick off some showers, as we see, as some heavier rain down to our south too, into eastern portions of Charlotte County, where there are still some lightning strikes. Keep an eye on this cell right here, Southgate, Lake Sarasota. It should be coming to an end here within the next half hour or so. Right now it is bringing some light to moderate rainfall all the way from the north end of Siesta Key all the way into Southgate near Gulf Gate, also getting some rainfall. And then in northwest Braden, this from an outflow boundary coming down from Pinellas County, creating some rainfall now for, it looks like, Anna Maria Island near Cortez and northwest Braden near Palmasola, stretching all the way to downtown Braden. Light rain. Right now, it doesn't appear to see any lightning with this. Storm tops at this point are about 20,000 feet. As I've been telling you, it has to get up to 30,000 feet in order for them to start generating lightning. But boy, we're getting a lot more down south near Fort Myers. Still dangerous situation down there into Lee County, where they have had some flooding problems. Near Northport, it's still there, light rain, and no lightning detection showing up right now near Inglewood. Rainfall was excessive in some areas earlier today. 3 inches, over 3 inches estimated by the Doppler radar site. It's all associated with this low pressure in the mid-level of the atmosphere. It's still spinning around, now making its way across parts of north central Florida and continuing off to the west. It'll still be in the Gulf of Mexico tomorrow. We'll see a chance for showers and storms again tomorrow. Not as many, but still the potential is there for some moderate to heavy rainfall on Thursday. Well, it's been nice on Casey Key. We had some high clouds and then some low clouds move in with some heavy rainfall offshore. Not a lot of rainfall there, though. Some areas didn't get much at all. So the forecast tonight calling for showers coming to an end. We may see some showers in the morning wrapping around that area of low pressure near the coast, but the better chance will be inland, and that chance at 40% for scattered showers and storms. I think a lot of that will be inland tomorrow, not as much making its way to the coast. Same story for Friday. Rain chances lessening somewhat. We'll have an update on this tropical system. Has a good chance of developing into the next named storm way out there in the Atlantic, and another one south of Bermuda should have no impact, significant impact on the United States, except for generating some big waves and surf along the mid-Atlantic coast states. Still some light rain at the airport at 71. And it's cooled things off nicely. East and northeast winds at 5 miles an hour. The beach and boating forecast looks like this tomorrow. We'll have winds out of the southeast turning to the southwest at 5 to 10 knots. The extended forecast calling for a 40% chance for scattered storms. We could see a little bit of activity in the morning along the coast. Less of a chance on Friday. We'll get back to that 40% chance on Saturday. That continues all the way through Wednesday of next week. Temperatures are summer-like. We'll be right back after this.
When you are home alone, an emergency can become a tragedy. However, with any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
at home,
Help! I've fallen and I can't get up.
and on the go.
Help! I've fallen in the park and I can't get up.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-518-0221. That's 1-800-518-0221. Call now, 1-800-518-0221. For a free brochure, call 1-800-518-0221.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
I'll be right back.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon? You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
I used to dread getting up and going to work.
I was done with the corporate grind.
I was tired of being a starving artist.
And I started looking around for a business that I believed in, and I kind of wanted to do something a little more green.
My SCORE mentor helped me take the first step.
He helped me create a business plan and helped me implement it.
They've really taught me how to think big.
SCORE helped me to make the unimaginable possible, all for free. I'm here because of SCORE.
I'm here because of SCORE.
Get your free business mentor at score.org.
In your primetime headlines tonight, now to the race to get that soccer team and their coach out of that cave in Thailand. A high-stakes rescue operation now underway. Thankfully, food and medical supplies have now reached the boys, but as ABC's Maggie Ruley reports, getting them out of that cave is still very dangerous.
After 10 days spent in total darkness, now a few smiles are breaking through, even some laughter. Those 12 boys and their coach, trapped deep within a cave in Thailand, have been examined by a doctor and are said to be alive and in surprisingly good health, being treated for only minor scrapes and bruises. But the group is rail thin, and medical experts warn.
They're breaking down a lot of muscle, even though they're incredibly sedentary. So in medicine, we always want to get an assessment of their current situation, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
With more rain in the forecast this week, the real test will be getting them out safely. None of the options are easy. One is to wait for the rainy season to pass. That could take weeks, if not months. Another is teaching the boys who don't know how to swim to scuba dive. The cave complex in the mountains of northern Thailand is about 6 miles long. The boys and their coach are here, a half-mile underground, and a little over 1 mile from the cave's entrance, according to the British diving team who found them. To get there, divers had to navigate a maze of caverns and passageways, a journey that could take even the most experienced divers 6 hours. This mother saying she can't wait to cook her son his favorite food, a traditional Thai omelet.
ABC spoke with one of the rescuers who described the search as harrowing. He calls this cave dive one of the hardest in the world and says there are maybe only 20 people who are even capable of doing it. And now they want to train these boys. Maggie Bruley, ABC News, New York.
The U.S. military also releasing these photos tonight of their aid in that rescue mission as well. Well, it's a hot holiday week for most of the nation, but the scorching temperatures are sparking dangerous fire conditions in the west. The devastating spring fire in Colorado has already destroyed 100 homes, the state's second largest fire in history. And the massive county fire in Northern California threatens hundreds of buildings. Officials there say wind and dry vegetation could still fuel that blaze. Before hosting a picnic today for military families at the White House, President Trump taking to Twitter with a holiday message.
My fellow Americans, Melania and I are truly honored to wish every American a happy Independence Day.
It's been a busy week so far for the president, who also spoke with 3 more prospective Supreme Court nominees today. That brings the total number to 7 people interviewed for the job of replacing retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy. After a 4-hour standoff, a woman who climbed the Statue of Liberty is now in custody. Liberty Island in New York had to be evacuated earlier tonight after this woman, a protester, climbed the statue. Authorities trying to talk her down. Earlier, 6 people had also been arrested after protesting with a banner that said "Abolish ICE." Federal regulations prohibit hanging banners from that monument. The woman was with that group. That's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Jacqueline Matter. Thanks for joining us and have a wonderful 4th of July holiday.